How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sunday, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, and it is Wednesday here on the show. You know what that means. We got a lot to talk about. Last night, everybody's favorite show, NXT, and man, there was a lot going on that show. We'll do the world-famous NXT report later on today. And Carmelo Hayes was on the show, by the way. So there had been some questions about whether or not he was going to make it after the injury that he and Austin Theory suffered on SmackDown Friday. And it was essentially exactly what I figured, which was Austin Theory more than got the worst of that one, as essentially Carmelo gave him a backwards headbutt right to the face as they fell off the ropes. So he was back. We'll tell you about that. Plus, tonight it is the AEW Dynamite show. We have 5 matches announced for the show. 4 matches in a promo segment, in fact. So we'll tell you about that. Presumably, more will be added later on today on Twitter. So if you have not been following Twitter in the late afternoons on Wednesdays, well, now's the time to start so you can find out what's going on in this show. And we've got plenty of other news as well. Update on Cora Jade, who is going to be out of action for a long time. We've got the ratings notes from this past weekend. Collision and Battle of the Belts and Rampage and SmackDown. Yuji Nagata is heading to Philadelphia for an MLW show. And as noted, all of the notes from the NXT show, which last week, by the way, big improvement in terms of advertising, or not advertising, but like identifying people, all out the window coming up here this week. And boy, was there an irony. We'll get to that when we get to the NXT report. Back in a moment with more Observer Live.
Welcome to the special tour of Figure 4 Weekly Headquarters, as promised. Today I will be accompanied by my assistant Vincenzo, so let's get moving. Hey, don't worry about it. Today's a special day, I'll drive. Vince, today's gonna be a good day, so let's not F anything up, okay? Now, I'd like to tell everybody, I just want to give a short speech on the way to the compound here today, and that is that we are going through very tough economic times right now. Right, Vince? It's a time of stock market crashing, the yen is devalued, a time of woe and want. And many of you watching this right now, for all I know, are unemployed. But the good thing is, and I always like to look on the bright side, as Vince is well aware, the good news is that for every dark cloud, there is a silver lining. And the silver lining is that Figure 4 Weekly is doing great. It's a huge success right now. Subscriptions are up, quality is down, profit margins are skyrocketing, things are going very well. So the one thing is that I don't want to make it seem like money is everything, because money cannot buy happiness, but what it can buy is enormous houses, and that makes me happy. So we will be going to see my enormous house, the Figure 4 Weekly compound, and that's where we're heading right now.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also WrestlingObserver.com. No Filthy today, but he'll be back on Friday. Him and Mike are going to tear it up. Did you know that? Now you know.
What, that you're not going to be here on Friday?
Now that Filthy's going to be here.
Is that...
Yeah, I got this arranged.
Okay.
I got it set up.
And like everything else, you let me know on the air because you're such a professional.
Well, I asked if you knew
in your life.
Because I presume that he didn't tell you. He only told me.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, tonight is Dynamite, and we got a lot of things announced for the show. Of course, we've got the main event, which is Samoa Joe versus Hook for the AEW World Title. I think it's going to be a fun match. I think that it's going to be a lot of fun and excitement. But at this point, Michael Booble here on the chat is the only person who believes Hook will beat Samoa Joe via submission to win the AEW title.
And he's not putting his money where his mouth is.
Oh, he's not? He chickened out?
He
Interesting.
came up with the mealy mouth excuse that he doesn't gamble online or some other nonsense like that.
Gamble online? This ain't online. This is on the air, brother. I'll facilitate this right here. How much will you put on the line for Hook to win that world title tonight via submission, by the way? Tap out Samoa Joe, he said.
Right? Under 5? Is that what it was, too?
I think he said under 5, but he's probably backing out of that one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeti Pod Pie says, I don't even think Taz thinks Hook will win. I think that's a very, very safe bet.
Now, is he in
but
there?
Maybe he does. Who knows?
Did he suddenly lose his internet connection? Are we getting some Buble response here?
He claims it's Buble. What are you, French? I only bet with people I expect will pay off the bet, he says. And he thinks it's going to be a squash.
Oh, I'll pay off this bet.
Come on, Booble. Listen, you make the bet, I'll make sure Mike pays because I pay Mike. So I'll make sure you get the money, brother.
Yeah. And honestly, in a bet like this, Brian should probably back me because what you're saying is insanity. That Hook will win that title in under 5 minutes tonight, tapping out Samoa Joe. Come on.
Hey, listen, Booble. What do you mean gambling is illegal? A friendly bet on the air?
Really?
Come on.
It's like a Super Bowl block pool. Come on.
That's right. Hey, listen, you want to bet $50? I'll chip in 50.
Uh-huh.
So if you win, you get 100. If not, nobody loses any money. Wait.
Simple as that.
You still owe Mike. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, he's going to lose. Then we've got the Young Bucks doing a promo. Then we have Christian Cage against Dustin for the TNT title, which I expect to be maybe even the best match on the show.
Yes, it will be. For men of a certain age, it absolutely will be because these are professional men. And a lot of people are wondering right now, I've seen this, what's the push with Dustin? Why so much Dustin? Because Dustin is awesome, that's why. Just, I don't know how else to put it. Christian and Dustin are awesome.
Then we have the Gates of Agony and Brian Cage versus the Bang Bang Gang, Jay White and the Guns. And just added, Deonna Purrazzo will be facing Anna Jay. So she can go 50-50 with another talent to set up her eventual match with Toni Storm. So that is the lineup for Dynamite coming up here tonight.
Which one? Anna Jay and Deonna? Who's going to get the win here tonight?
Well, Deonna, of course. Don't be silly. You want to make a bet on that one while you're at it? Well, Booble might, but probably
here's
not.
Here's the thing. Why bring back Anna Jay to lose like that? I don't know. When they need stars, they especially need stars in the women's division, and they have so many people at their disposal. I mean, yeah, you could pick some up from ROH, the Renegades, or whoever, and have them lose to Anna Jay. Have them lose to Deonna Purrazzo. Have them lose to Red Velvet. Why Red Velvet was out there taking the L to Deonna, I don't really know. Because she's one of those people that has been at least an established name, even if they haven't done much with her and she's been out injured. So they always make some...
They're building Deonna up for the title. She's got to beat some people.
But do you have to bring back Red Velvet and Anna Jay, or two people that their fans have gotten behind before, and actually have some establishment of name instead of using some other people to do it?
Yeah, Red Velvet's been gone forever. She can come back and lose. Not a big deal.
I guess it's just... I don't know if they're nobody because they just came back, and then all they are just kind of empty names. So who did Deonna really beat anyway? I don't know. I just think there's another way you could have been building her up and can be building her up because there's so many women.
Yeah, squashing blokes, not 50-50. First match. The first match is always 50-50 in AEW. I think some people need to come in and just destroy some blokes.
Well, Serena
Let us know who you are.
Serena Deeb's still out there. She's going to be returning. They had the previews of that, so maybe she comes in and starts choking people out and leaves a trail of bodies.
Letty says, what can she do to be built up? Squash Red Velvet. She doesn't need to go 50-50 with Red Velvet.
No,
okay?
she doesn't. No.
She doesn't. She could destroy her.
That's why,
That's it
why
it's
it wasn't
okay.
another name, I don't know.
Red Velvet will be okay if she gets squashed by a debuting Deanna Purrazzo who's going after Toni Storm's title. That will be okay.
They're going to kick her out the kitchen, Brian. You never know.
Crying out loud. All right, well, we've got more here. Cora Jade out of action for quite some time. They announced before the number one contenders battle royal that Cora had suffered an ACL tear at House Show on Saturday. Said that Jade would be out of action close to a year. She was wrestling Lyra Valkyria. I use the name properly during an important news segment. Despite that, announcers credited the debuting Ren Sinclair as the one who had defeated Jade in the match. Did they say that?
Yes.
I only heard they said she was replacing her. I didn't know they outright lied. Wow.
So that was her in the match.
Well, Ren Sinclair debuted. The former Maddie Renkowski. Now, Ren Sinclair. Previously made appearances in NWA and AEW. She looked good out there. Old Ren Sinclair. And then Tuesday, Jade posted a picture of her knee in a brace on X, writing, "It's only after we've lost everything we are free to do anything." A lot of ACL tears. Lots going on here with the women in wrestling, and not just wrestling, all sports. So why that is? Well, no one knows yet. But not good. Been out of action for a long time. So we have all of the ratings notes from the weekend. Nothing really all that exciting. Collision did 400,000 and a .10, which of course is quite bad. It's the lowest Collision number ever without WWE competition. But they did have that playoff game on Peacock, which did allegedly 23 million viewers and was said to be the most streamed event in all of history. That's what they said. That's what they said.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. It's just a silly, stupid move. One that benefited wrestling fans who only have Peacock to watch WWE. I guess if they're also NFL fans, they scored one there, but a completely ridiculous thing to do in a lot of ways for a lot of different reasons for me to go ahead and do that. 20 million people. Imagine what it could have been if everybody got a chance to see it. This is what I worry about when it comes to wrestling being on these streaming services when it gets right down to it. Is it really going to be beneficial at this juncture? Because I can see in the future, again, things changing, things consolidating, and this being regular television, but we are not there yet. And I'm very interested if, say, WWE goes on to WBD and Tony's got to look elsewhere to do things, or say Raw gets picked up and is put on Amazon, how much that's really going to affect things. A lot of people have their opinions both ways, but
Brother,
we really don't know what it's going to be.
It doesn't matter one bit. If Raw on Peacock or on Amazon Prime, if they get like 50,000 viewers a week, it don't matter. Because
Brian?
I'm going to tell you why. Because do you know how much they're going to make from Amazon Prime?
But here's the thing.
They'll probably make $1 billion.
What about the next time, though?
Well,
what about the next deal then when you don't have that chip of Raw because it's been so badly damaged at that
They
point?
have SmackDown on USA,
NXT
and they have NXT on everyone's
C-Dub.
favorite network, the C-Dub.
Yeah.
So they can sacrifice Raw to Amazon Prime to make, like, bro, it's going to be
Brian,
a ridiculous amount of money.
And they're going to have to, because you see how the market responded to TKO and what they think about TKO right now after the last deal. So I can see them going for that money, but I wonder if it's, well, again, we'll find out if that's a short-term decision that ends up burning them a little bit a couple of years later.
Back in a moment, Observer Live.
Getting to I want to go ahead and shift into Continental Classic because you just mentioned it. A really, really great tournament that AEW has put together with top-notch competitors. I mean, you got to go in there with Andrade, with Bryan Danielson. Loved seeing you guys go to the time limit draw. That was awesome. Daniel Garcia, a young guy in this who's been killing it. Eddie Kingston, Brody King. All of these people that you got to mix it in with. What was your impression when you first heard of the Continental Classic, that this was going to be happening? And how did you feel getting to take part in the first one and in the tournament of this caliber?
I was very excited, right before I joined AEW, I was extremely close, like probably a couple of days away before doing the G1 for New Japan. And I always want to do the G1, and I still owe him one, I feel like. So to do the Continental Classic, I was super excited. And it also, to me, I feel like I'm at my best when I get into a routine, so to speak. And with the Continental Classic, it's like, you wrestle every week. And like, then again, like looking back, I was like, I pretty much wrestled every week multiple times. But to me, it's always like, okay, cool. And then I looked at both groups and like all the talent announced, which is awesome, because I was like, yeah, there's not one person that I wouldn't want to be in the ring with. And then I saw the brackets or whatever, and the blue group, and I'm like, this is like, every single competitor is like top level. Every single competitor, it's going to be fun and a big challenge, and every match is going to be different, right? So the gold group was fun to watch as well, but I feel like the blue group just had like so many different styles and competitors in it, and it was so much fun, not just for me. I feel like my fellow competitors as well, and for the viewers, because you kind of knew what matches you were getting. I mean, like, you knew what the matches were, like, right when you look at it, you're like, oh my god, I'm going to get all those matches, but you didn't really know quite when. So it's like it's still that like cool, and then it gets announced and it's cool and you can look forward to it. And then of course it all came down to the last day, which was a lot of fun, I feel like, for everybody watching. And it's not quite over yet, so it's been a very good thing for AW and the fans. And I just brought it down to me what wrestling is, because it's fun, it's sports, it's storytelling, and you've seen all the guys do like the interviews and the promos and then like the matches, and it's just everybody put their heart and soul into it, and you can tell.
Well, two things here. First off, a decade ago, I thought 3 hours of Raw was going to kill that show. Here we are. It's 2024. I'd rather it was 2 hours. But take out the NFL. I mean, this is your number one show on television. I mean, the reason it's only second behind SmackDown is because SmackDown's on Fox, which it won't be next year. And the fact of the matter is, if they go to Amazon Prime, it's going to be, I would predict, $450 to $500 million a year for that show. And, as someone here asked, which is a great question, well, if they go to Amazon Prime, like, the whole point of Amazon Prime is to, get subscribers to pay to watch whatever's on there. So, it doesn't need to be 3 hours. Why does it have to be 3 hours? They're not paying for hourly content like they are on cable. They're paying for the content.
They're kind of paying for hours, though. They want minutes, and that all of that stuff adds up. So in a way, they may very well want 3 hours, just because it's going to drive up, in theory, it's going to drive up how they view their audience and how their audience is recorded.
Well, maybe, but if you remember when WWE was on the WWE Network, they had those pay-per-views. And they started doing that deal where every freaking pay-per-view had to be 3.5, 4.5 hours long. Why? Because they wanted to do all the, WWE fans streamed X amount of programming on the network. which they then, by the way, used to get like a preposterous deal from Peacock. Ridiculous, the deal they got. But you know what happened on Peacock? Aside from the big four, the shows are like 3 hours now. Yeah. They're back to being 2 hours and 50 minutes, 3 hours, 3:10, whatever. They're not doing those ridiculously long shows because it doesn't matter.
But Peacock still measures the hours.
They do,
Peacock
but whenever they do a
views.
press release, they talk about the number of people who watched. They don't talk about the streaming hours or anything like that. They talk about the number of people that watched.
Netflix does, and Amazon does. And again, maybe it just comes down to semantics over what numbers you put out there and how you put that wording out there. But they may very well want it to be 3 hours. And the thing is, it's not going to kill Raw necessarily, but it's going to be interesting, and it's the best thing they can do if they want to rally that stock, if they want to do something to energize, because what else is there right now for them to do? It's going to come down to this deal and a big money offer from Amazon, who has basically, when it comes to their freebie thing with Judge Judy, it ended up being, it was like $125 million for like 20-something episodes of that show. And now they have several shows with her. They have shows that they have spent a lot of money on, short miniseries and things like that, and things that they've developed. So from the money aspect, it is going to be good. It's just, again, it will be interesting to see the money you make now. Are you going to give away any of it later? Again, I know it's nerdy business stuff, but it is fascinating to see exactly where Raw will be at that point if it is on Amazon for 3, 4, 5 years, and where we're at with the whole deal by then.
So anyway, we have Rampage, 396,000 and a .12, which was going head-to-head with an NBA game. And Battle of the Belts did not well, 351,000, .09, lowest 18 to 49 ever for Battle of the Belts, because, belts never change. So that's that.
There's a lot of stuff on. A lot of wrestling eyeballs being pulled, the hardcores that night.
And then SmackDown, 2.4 million viewers, which was only down slightly from the follow-up to the Rock on Raw. Second highest audience they've done since October 13th, and a .64 in 18 to 49. Number one in all of television, including daily sports. So there you go. Gigantic numbers for SmackDown.
Speaking of sports, and I don't know, I saw a glance at this earlier on. Amazon is apparently coming in to pick up the pieces of the fractured Diamond Sports Group, Sinclair Broadcasting spinoff of all those regional sports channels. So again, if you're looking at like how CW has been doing things where they were openly courting and got the ACC, NASCAR, WWE, they're interested in wrestling and things like that. I mean, again, that's another one in the Amazon chip of where could Raw be going? Well, Amazon continues to spend and doesn't mind spending on sports.
Got Yuji Nagata debuting for MLW, which is coming up for Super Fight in Philadelphia on February 3rd. Yuji Nagata versus Jacob Fatu is on the show, as well as Alex Kane versus Satoshi Kojima for the MLW title, and Mystico versus Averno. Is it 2006? But hey, I bet that match will be awesome.
So Dragon Row, hey, Kamiyatachi's making a return, so it kind of is. Did you hear about that one?
I did not.
He'll be.
Isn't that one of those little toys? It's like a little animal. If you don't feed it, it dies.
Well, I guess that would be what the cat. I guess is. What's the cat's name of Hiromu Takahashi? But yeah, I guess he's going to be going back to his masked form to celebrate Fantasticamania.
How about that? What are those little toys called?
What, the cat? What was his name?
No, they're a little toy that like you have to feed it or it dies. A Kamagotchi?
It looked like something else they recycled.
Not
it was like a
Furby.
gremlin they recycled, right?
Tamagotchi. Thank you.
Tamagotchi? What is this? Tamagotchi.
You are so old. God.
Tamagotchi.
Get with the program.
It's a... What is this?
Yeah, I know all about it because Whitney used to have one and she killed it, and she still remembers to this day. Even Lance knows. Tamagotchi. When Lance knows, you know you're out to lunch, Mike. Let's see what we got in the text message bin. Then we'll go to the world-famous NXT report. Let's see.
How does Lance... Because he had to have known about this because of his daughters, right?
Probably.
Then what... How... Never mind.
This person says that's why Mike hates streaming. He's old and loves his remote control.
I have YouTube TV.
Well, first off, Jingo, you don't think you have a remote control for streaming nowadays?
I was going to say.
I guess if you're watching on your iPad, but if you're streaming through your TV, there's still a remote control, brother.
I am old, though.
What, do you just try and think? Huh? Why is Sami Zayn not on TV after being the hottest star of 2023? Because he requested time off. But then he wanted to come back for a house show run, and then he continued his time off. So that's why.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, look, you can buy them on Amazon, coincidentally.
Tamagotchis?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. $61. Age 8 and up.
They look like they're made for, like... So it's like... It was like a doll that you had to take care of or it would die sort of thing. It just happens to be in, like, 8-bit Nintendo Game Boy form.
I like this one here. Why are we still acting like Twitter is a thing? Seems to me that Tony is addicted, like some people we know. You talking about me? I'm definitely not addicted to Twitter.
No.
Dave
Tony might
maybe.
be.
But
Yeah,
the
Dave
fact of the matter is, yeah, Twitter sucks. It's nothing like it used to be. But let's not pretend that nobody's on X right now, because a ton of people are.
I was going to say, where did everybody else go then? Because, everybody's split between...
Well, they splintered between all of
and,
these others. It lasted a week, and then people don't
Blue
really...
Sky and the Gram. How's your Snap doing, Brian?
It's Insta, not the Gram.
Not the Gram, not IG. I'm too old.
Do you eat graham crackers in the morning or something?
No. I never like graham crackers, really.
Dave Meltzer do cameos? No, he does not. But I do. F4W Online.
So
I'll
does
give you
Vinny.
your money's worth. And also, what do you think about the Young Bucks versus Sting and Darby? I think it's great.
You got mustaches.
Bro,
You hear
even
that?
Booker T said that match was going to be a great match for Sting and Darby.
Shucky Ducky.
Yeah, he did. And he's a guy that, he had problems with the Young Bucks. But he said, they do a lot of flips and everything, but they can work. And there's no better team to go out there and
they can work all right.
get Sting through that match. They can work. You kidding me?
You can work, too.
They're incredible.
You're an incredible worker yourself.
I am. Thank you. Did you see Lee Fitting is ineligible for future Emmys because of a scheme he was part of as part of ESPN?
This story is so goofy. It really is, and kind of blown out of proportion. It really is. Although it just shows how dumb the system is. It really does. Because basically what it comes down to is he was trying to get, as some people have done, like Major League Baseball Network, this was pointed out, they've done this where hosts don't win those awards. It's producers. It's everybody behind the scenes. So unless you make everybody a producer of the show, which is discouraged, the on-air talent doesn't get those awards. It would be like Dom winning best show for this, but Brian and I don't get an award. So they tried to set it up
Tom should
where...
get an award for keeping this thing going.
Well, they should, and they tried to set it up where they would use fake names and then re-engrave them and give them to the hosts. But that's what he got caught
I'll make you a
for.
deal. I'll make you a deal. If you and I win an award for this show, I'll give your award to Dom. How's that sound?
Do I get the money? All I care about is the money. You can keep the
I don't think you
statue.
get that much money, actually. I don't think
Well,
Sean got
then
any money for his
Give me the
Emmy.
award, and I'll melt it down and get the money.
It's probably made of plastic. You think that thing's solid gold?
Well, I mean, what award
You are
are we
so
gonna win?
old.
I thought we were winning a Marconi or something. What do they
Jiminy
got for
Christmas.
radio
Are you
now?
still on the gold standard?
Are there are there any radio awards anymore? Do those even exist?
I think
Or are
there's
they
the
all
macaroni,
podcast
but I've never been up for it.
No, the Marconi, not the macaroni.
I'd like to
that
get all
would
over
be
this
the award we win.
This Lee Fitting. I should get all over this guy. Man, this guy screwed everything up on Monday. Probably wasn't him, but you know what? I need a scapegoat. And he took over that job from that other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's going to get it.
And he's responsible for Caden and Katana, isn't he?
Oh, stop. Get out of here. Back in a moment with the NXT Report. Observer Live.
No fish can swim this far upshore.
Yeah.
Shoulders ran like the wind, but he could find no peace.
All right, the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Well, it's time for the world-famous NXT report. And you know, 2 weeks ago on this show, I was watching it, and that was a show where they had like 7 straight segments in a row, non-wrestling, and like 74 people were on the screen during those 7 segments. And I couldn't remember, like, who is this? Who is this? What in the heck's going on? Got to pause it to remember everybody's name. And on that show, among the people unidentified were Edris Enofe and Malik Blade. No one said their names. There was no graphic on the screen, nothing. So if you're not a regular viewer, and they, by the way, had not been on TV for weeks. It's not like they are regulars, they're there every week, like Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Well, they weren't identified. You have no earthly idea who they are. Now, that's you as a viewer. But let's talk about an actual commentator on this show. Old Vic. Old Vic. I mean, he does not like Vic. I don't have a problem with Vic, but sometimes Vic is a little bit out to lunch, if you know what I'm saying. They had Carmelo and Trick versus Edris Enofe and Malik Blade in a Dusty Classic match. Reminds me of you, actually, a few months ago, Mike, when you also got very confused.
Nah, don't try to turn this
But
around
granted.
on me because you couldn't tell the difference between Malik Bey and
Oh,
Edris
stop.
Enofe
You were
and
the
who
one that
wore
had
the
it
sweater.
backwards, you idiot.
No,
Yes,
no.
you did. And then you
No, I
confused me, and I
didn't.
was like, wait a second, you're wrong.
Then you confuse me. It's your
Hey,
fault.
it's back there. Everyone heard the show.
You goon.
But the point is, this Vic, who, by the way, it's his job to call the action. He could not figure out who was who. So he starts calling Enofe Blade. Then he starts calling Blade Enofe. Then he calls Blade Enofe and then also Blade. I'm like, are you trying to get fired? What are you doing, brother? So he was
He's doing
lost.
his best Booker T impression.
He was totally lost. And so, anyway, well, they lost. So, Carmelo and Trick won. They move on.
Those two
In
should
the Dusty
never
Classic.
have been on TV. Blade and Enofe, they basically debuted right on TV, and Blade had at least a little bit of experience. But they're such great athletes, but honestly, they shouldn't be on TV because they don't have enough of it together yet. Whereas, and I get it that this is developmental, but to me, put them on level up a lot, make sure that they're working the house shows, but I don't want to see them back as a team until you got a lot more to give me because there are other people who have already advanced past them at this point.
Then we had Kelly interviewing Fallon, who said she had a lot of fun last week. I think they're putting Fallon and Tiffany together. She said she'd never gotten a women's title match. It was time to show everybody why she was top shelf. Vowed to make it to the Final Four in the Women's Battle Royal tonight. Then, this was a fun segment.
Oh, jeez.
Lola and Elektra are chatting backstage. Tatum Paxley shows up and starts talking to them through some
No, time
window
out.
and a door.
This was the comedy segment of the show. Lola is walking and talking with Elektra Lopez, and as they walk by the door, all of a sudden, behind the door, you see the slats come up, and there's Tatum Paxley's face, and as if she is part of the gimmick the whole time, she just pops up and jumps right into the conversation, and then closes it, and that's it.
This was not the comedy segment of the night.
Well, I'm just saying that's how it...
Although one of the people here was in the comedy segment of the night. I'll tell you that much. For the record, nobody was identified in this segment.
No.
Nobody said anyone else's name. There were no graphics on the screen. We have absolutely no idea who these people are unless you are a diehard.
You're good. By the way, folks, you're going to hear that a lot more
yes.
as this report goes on.
Obafemi came out to do a promo. And the funny thing is, he's super over. They all love him. But I think he's supposed to be a heel. Because Dragon Lee comes out, and he wants a rematch of the title. And Oba says, no.
Love it.
Open challenges are now closed.
Love it.
So Dragon says he wants the match he deserved at Vengeance Day. Oba says, you can't decide that anymore. But I may consider it. And he walks out. So presumably that match is taking place at the...
like a Dragon Lee called it Advantage
Day.
Day. That's what it sounded like.
Eddie Thorpe talking about his
By the
win.
way, I just want to say this, too, for the people that go to those shows, and I know you're there, and you're there every week, and you provide energy, and that's cool. Stop having to have interactive, nonstop chants for everything, because if you like Obafemi and you want to see this guy succeed, try not woofing after everything he says like a what, okay? Let him actually get through his promo. This guy has had 8 matches. Let him actually develop if you actually care about some of these people instead of making it such an interactive and trying to put yourself as part of the show.
So we had Trey Bearhill showing up for this Eddie Thorpe segment, and nobody was identified, but thankfully, Eddie Thorpe was smart enough to say, Trey Bearhill, right? So they identified him. So then Dijak showed up, and this led to a stare down and a Dijak match later. Trick and Mello are celebrating their win. They're moving on in the tournament. And who should show up but Ilya Dragunov? And after all that, he just goes, I wasn't cleared at New Year's Evil, but hey, I'm cleared now. So I know I let you down. You deserve your match on the big stage. Our title match will be at Vengeance Day. Trick is all excited. Yeah, I can't wait. And then as soon as Ilya leaves, Carmel's aghast. And he goes, Vengeance Day is the finals of the Dusty Cup. He's sad. Then we had, and this you need to go out of your way to see, Lyra and Tatum against Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. Does anybody know Lyra? Like, was she a Shakespearean actor before she got into wrestling? Her acting. They say you should play for the cheap seats. She's played for people on the moon, dude.
Love it.
Tatum comes out dressed as Lyra, and Lyra's reaction to this is so preposterously over the top. What? Huh? What? Are you kidding me? And I was... So then the match starts, and then Tatum is doing all of Lyra's spots. And Lyra's like, what? I can't believe it. What's going on? And meanwhile, the spots are all working, and it's her tag partner. I'm like, what are you so aghast about? This is working out great. So then, Lola tries a kick on Lyra. Tatum shoves her out of the way, takes the bullet. But then she falls onto Elektra and counts the pin. And Lyra's outrageously shocked, even though her team won. And, I was crying watching this. This is so over the top, and it's not supposed to be. But, let's tone it down a little. Lyra, your wrestling is really good. And let's just tone. You don't need to be that outrageously shocked. We got it. So then, Ariana Grace is talking about winning the Battle Royal. Everybody leaves. Ridge Holland beat Joe Coffey.
Now, be honest.
I can't believe how mad I got over this match.
Wait, hold on. Be honest. How many of those women, when they popped on the screen in that Ariana Grace
None.
thing, did you know?
None of them. And it was worse than the Battle Royal. And then, Ridge Holland and Joe Coffey. I was so mad because, you know how many times Joe Coffey has gotten an opportunity over somebody else? It's Sean loves this guy, and he pushes him so hard. And then Ridge Holland just squashes him. I'm like, I had to put up with all that, and he's just a job guy. So then Gallus jumps him afterwards, and the story is nobody comes to help Ridge. He has no friends in the locker room. Wow.
And to drive that point home, they kept shooting the camera over, and then the guys would turn around and look to see if anybody was coming out to help. But they did that twice, just so you know, nobody's coming out to help this man.
Then, JC's still talking to the Chase U women about something that they're doing a really good job with, but it's a frickin' secret. So, I don't know what's going on, but
Jasmine, come back here. Because Jasmine?
Yes. Then, this segment. Kalani Jordan is backstage. You remember last week they had that random woman that showed up, and she was like a fake Thea Hale, like a spoof of Thea, but it's actually on the show? Mm. Okay, this woman shows up again. She is not identified via name or via graphic.
No, Kalani is. She is not.
Kalani refers to her only as Girl. Girl, let's go do it tonight. The segment ends. I have no idea who this woman is, okay?
Girl's got energy.
Now, later in the Battle Royal, they're doing I'll get to that, actually. I'll get to it now. They're doing the Battle Royal later. God, this is a long show. And there's a spot with Elektra, and Elektra tosses out this same mystery woman, okay? The announcers are calling this spot. Neither identified her. I'd bet you $100 neither Vic nor Booker have any idea what this woman's name is. It was amazing how they called this spot and somehow managed to not say her name. So anyway, names, graphics, they help. Interview with Corbin and Braun. They're like a comedy duo now. And I think they're supposed to be heels, but they're going to get over as baby faces. And the point of all of this is, I actually think their team name is going to be The A-Holes, okay? I'm pretty sure if you watch this segment, that's the conclusion I came to. Duke Hudson, Riley Osborne versus Cruz and Joaquin in a tournament match. Very good match. This Riley Osborne is totally reminds me of a young AJ Styles.
Evan Bourne.
But he has AJ. Watch the match. But he has way more charisma at this stage than AJ did at that stage. And, Cruz and Joaquin are great. Very good match. Duke made his good hot tag. Cruz and Del Toro move on. Mr. Stone is talking to Von Wagner. Noam Dar shows up. Von Wagner was awesome in this segment. Von Wagner is acting like he's stupid, and he's getting Noam to try to explain all of the complicated rules of this match. And finally, Noam could just take no more, and he storms off. And Stone goes, "Did you know what was going on there?" And Von goes, "Of course, I got an A in algebra. And this year, I want to win some gold. Let's go get training." He's going to go after the Heritage Cup. Dijak beat Trey Bearhill. Trey Bearhill is like a total late 70s, early 80s heel. He should team with Lyra. Everything he does is over the top. He gets punched. Ah! You know it. Man, that guy got punched. So anyway, Dijak wins. And then Gacy's on commentary. And Dijak and Gacy get into a whatever. They brawl to the back. And then Lexus King attacks Trey Bearhill and says, "You cost me the biggest match of my life, my career." And so they're going to have a match down the road. JBL puts over Josh Briggs. We have Trick apologizing to Mello for everything that happened in the title match. Trick's plan, he's going to go to the finals of the Dusty Cup, win those trophies, and then win the NXT tag titles and the NXT world title. The only man to hold both belts at the same time in the history of NXT. And man, Trick hears that, and he is not pleased. And then we had the Women's Battle Royal. Number one contender to Lyra. I'll cut to the chase. I had no idea who half these women were. They were not identified. They did not get ring entrances. They were just there. It came down to Fallon, Roxanne, Kalani, and Kiana. The Fatal 4-Way was actually very good, and Roxanne hit the Pop Rocks on Kalani to win and get the shot at Lyra. The Battle Royal, it wasn't perfect, but like all of this was so much better than I thought.
Better luck next time, Brinley Reese.
Back in a moment. Observer Live.
Well, I was super excited. Like, when I joined AEW and it was the Blackpool Combat Club, I was like, oh yeah, it just, like, people ask me, how do you feel? I'm like, I feel like it's just right. Like, it just, yeah. I get up another day and it's like I've always been part of it, And with Bryan, again, like, I've known him for almost 20 plus years now, all over the world. Like you said, we've been in the ring all over the world, and like just hung out and traveled together for so long, that it's been so much fun, just being around him a lot. And I always mention the BCC group chat because it seems to get people jealous that they're not in it. There's also a BCC book club, I think, that just got founded. So yeah.
Wait, did that just start?
I mean, we just started our first book that we're all reading together. So yeah, I think that's going to be a thing as well.
Because I know Bryan said that he reads 3 books at the same time. So is he making you guys do this, or was this like a joint thing?
No, so I feel like so Bryan has been reading for a long time, and he reads a lot of books. I think he reads like at least one a week or something like that, which is incredible. I just started reading a lot more this year, and I know Marx reads quite a bit as well. So we were just kind of like, oh, what if we just kind of do a book club thing? We just all read like the same book and then talk about it. And we were like, sure, yeah, why not? So we're forcing Yuta to read as well. No, I mean, like, Yuta was always reading, but we're just now doing this kind of thing. So it that just kind of sums it up how much fun it's been with Bryan. And then to your second part of the question, if this is his last year full-time wrestling, I'm extremely happy to have had that match with him, because we were kind of talking. It was like the last couple of matches we had were in front of nobody or screens in the Thunderdome era, and then before that it was like tag matches and this and that. But like singles wise, I think it was like a gauntlet match years ago, like 2014 or 15 or something like that, when I was still with Zeb and Swagger. And then obviously, before that, Ring of Honor. So it's been quite a while. And I mean, I was extremely happy that I was able to wrestle him for that long in front of an audience on TV, and just go in there and have fun. And, like, if he can do it again, like, I would obviously love to. But if not, I feel like, if Bryan's kind of going, if this is his last year, he's just going down the list of fun stuff that he wants to do. And I was glad to have been part of it. Not so glad about that draw since it cost me the tournament, but you win some, you lose some.
Well, Tony Khan just tweeted tonight, Dynamite TBS, our main event, Samoa Joe vs. Hook will be commercial-free.
Hey!
TBS is ready for an overrun tonight. It's possible tonight's show will go several minutes past the top of the hour. See you tonight. Tony needs to get them to just add in the 5-minute overrun every week. I think that would be a lot
is he
easier.
doing that, but not really saying that in that tweet? But
No.
he's not officially done that.
No, because if he did, the YouTube TV would always record 5 minutes over, and they don't. So
I'm so happy I get to watch it on delay in the morning where I don't have those issues. They've already added the time to it, whereas you are suffering still desperately badly in this.
Well, I got to watch it so I can review the show with Dave,
Yeah.
which will be happening tonight. And also this afternoon, myself and Lance Storm will be up talking all sorts of things. He watched Raw this week, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Plus,
I want to hear about the Tamagotchi.
TNA pay-per-view this past weekend. And, yes, the TNA pay-per-view. TNA is back! Which makes me think I should watch it.
TNA Agachi.
But anyway, that's going to be coming up later on today. Back tomorrow here, as always, with more. And you can check out all the shows, WrestlingObserver.com or video.f4wonline.com. And check it out. A lot of great stuff coming up over the next couple of days and a busy next couple of weeks because not this Saturday, but the Saturday after is the Royal Rumble. It's one of the big WWE shows of the year, which we will be covering for subscribers, WrestlingObserver.com. That's it. Thanks, Mike, as always. Callers and listeners, everybody in the studio. We'll talk to you next time, Wrestling Observer Live.